Hello and welcome to part 2 of our Kazuya Basics Guide. Again, note that we're currently on Tekken version 4. This video we're going to talk about the basics of Kazuya gameplay to try to get you started there. Thankfully, Kazuya is not a hard character conceptually, instead he's merely a hard character in terms of execution. As always, don't forget there's the written version of this guide should you need it. The link is in the video description below. Now let's talk some strategy. First, it's important for me to state that this is not a crouch dash electric wind god fist tutorial. There are plenty out there on YouTube, and I even went over it in our basics guide a little, so if you're struggling with crouch dashes or electrics, I recommend browsing YouTube and you'll find something. That is the execution part of Kazuya, and really it just requires practice. There's nothing we can talk about in this guide related to strategy that will help you with that. Instead, our focus here is applying it in-game because crouch dashing is so powerful and important. This applies to all Mishimas, but it's particularly important for Kazuya since he has the fastest and easiest electric wind god fist. To explain this, let's talk about electrics quick. For the other Mishimas or Mishima-like characters that have crouch dash moves like Armor King, Bob, etc., you would normally do an electric or electric motion as forward, neutral, down, down, forward 2. The timing of the down, down, forward 2 determines whether you get the electric or not. In Kaz's case, he has a shortcut version thanks to a special movement called misstep. Forward, neutral, down, forward 2. So you just cut out the down entirely, and this cuts 1 frame from its speed if you do it as fast as possible, which is important because now it becomes a 13 frame launcher that's +5 on block. Doing the true 13 frame version is referred to as a perfect electric wind god fist or PEWGF. If you're committed to Kaz, you should strive for being able to consistently perfect electric because it allows you to A, launch punish at 13 frames, and B, hit significantly stronger juggles. Counter hit down forward 2 perfect electric is a well-known example. So being able to do perfect electric significantly skyrockets Kaz's potential. Why are we hammering electric? Because in all honesty, it's the linchpin of Kazuya's gameplay. Ignoring perfect electric for a moment, electrics in general are an I-11 launcher that's +5 on block and recovers ridiculously quick on whiff. So not only is it nearly impossible to punish on reaction, but it also allows you to put on insane pressure. And yes, I realize it's possible to play Kaz without electric, but it's a high that forces people to slow down and duck or overuse high crushes. And it's easily his lowest risk versus reward move. So practice, practice, practice. You want this in your arsenal. Kazuya offense comes in 2 flavors. The first revolves around crouch dash and wave dash, which is simple to understand but hard to actually execute, which we mentioned before. Since the movement itself is so fast, you're never really out of range. Obviously, it starts with electrics. Because electric is so fast, again I-11, and the crouch dash motion has some ducking frames, it works as an excellent interrupt tool for those trying to challenge your movement. If they block it, again you're at +5. In the open, this mostly resets you to neutral, whereas at the wall, you can actually use the +5 to go straight into a forced mix-up, since anything faster than I-15 can't generally be beat. Electric spam is common because, again, it's really hard to challenge, and at worst, resets you to neutral on block. So it's just really good at maintaining pressure and momentum. Now your main low is going to be crouch dash 4-1, or more commonly referred to as hell sweep. An I-16, 30+ damage knockdown low combo that can wall splat at certain ranges. Now we should mention quickly that you do also have crouch dash 4-4, which gives you a low for the second hit, so you can turn it into a quick mix-up if you think the first hit might whiff. Now the first hit is very bad on block, but it's so quick and does a healthy chunk of damage, so it's not something that they can just ignore. And because of the position that they land, it's really easy to go right into another crouch dash mix-up, and they can't get up fast enough to challenge it, which gives him incredible Oki. This is his commonly mentioned vortex, since there will be times where it is perfectly appropriate to do a few hell sweeps in a row to get them to start ducking. In other words, each hell sweep you do puts them right back in the same situation. He has no other lows from crouch dash, but it's important to know that you can pretty easily pop out of crouch dash by pressing nearly any direction. Forward and back are the most common, and then doing whatever move you want from standing. So if you'd rather not take the big hell sweep risk, you can pop out of crouch dash and do some other poke like down back 4. We'll talk more about the neutral stuff later. Now once they start ducking, you have several options. While standing 4 from crouch dash, which is forward neutral, quarter circle forward 4, is your quick mid check, so it's going to be the lowest reward but also the lowest risk, which by the way isn't a bad thing because it does set up spacing traps really well. While standing 3 is slower at I-21 but can be inputted the same way, forward neutral, quarter circle forward 3, it's nearly as safe as while standing 4, and it's a homing knockdown splatter. Full crouch down forward 3+4, which can be done simply crouch dash 3+4, is one you'll see sometimes since it high crushes and gives a free forward 4 on hit, but remember that it's also -11 on block. Now for the real big damage, you'll want to start doing forward moves, which can be done crouch dash forward plus your attack button thanks to a buffer. Forward 3 is the most common since it's a safe mid launcher, it's just a little on the slow side. Forward 4 is faster, also safe, and has a little better tracking. It'll only launch on counter hit, but in an Oki situation, you can use it to hedge your read if you think there's a chance they'll stay on the ground, since it does hit grounded. But you also have some easily accessible pressure tools with running 3, inputted as crouch dash forward 3, and forward 4, inputted as crouch dash forward 4. The former is a knockdown splatting low crush, and the latter is a chunky mid that'll slam on counter hit. Both give heavy plus frames on block. Now for system reasons, you can't do while standing 1-2, while standing 1+2, or while standing 2 with the methods we just mentioned. Instead, you have to do a cancel, which is crouch dash, neutral back neutral, and then your button. This has a tricky timing to it, so it'll take a little bit of practice, but it's worth it since while standing 1-2 is an I-13 mid launcher, while standing 1+2 is a safe, chunky I-13 mid that'll knock down on counter hit, and while standing 2, albeit super unsafe, is a very quick homing mid launcher. These only add to your huge arsenal of mids. So in summary, use electric or while standing 4 or your crushes to slow the game down, then threaten the ankles with your lows and eventually take your mid read. Again, not super complicated, but being able to access all these moves quickly will take considerable practice. So the second flavor of Kazuya's offense is just plain old neutral mixes. Again, you might just end up doing these from a crouch dash anyway, but since they aren't actual crouch dash moves, they're worth talking about as a separate unit. We'll talk about lows first since they are the things that will provoke ducking. Down back 4 is certainly his most common, a little slow at I-20, but it does good damage, it tracks well, hits grounded, only -12 on block, and it's +4 on hit. The +4 is really important because it makes down forward 2 essentially unbeatable. Even if it trades with the jab, you will still get your counter hit launch. And of course, anything 13 frames or faster should flat out win. For instance, perfect electric. Toe kick is another classic, not much damage, but very fast, excellent tracking, and high crushes, so it's really good at helping you dictate pace. Down back 3 works in a similar way and has more range and damage, but it doesn't track as well and it is slower. However, you can actually get a lot of plus frames on counter hit with it. If you want to go more risk, you can try down 1+2, which is a high crushing counter hit launch. It's weak to sidewalk, but actually tracks sidestep pretty well. Just be careful because it is seeable and I-14 on block. For mids, again, focus on your essential moves like down forward 1, down forward 3, back 2, and down back 2, in addition to what we already mentioned before, such as forward 3, forward 4, forward 4, and so on. Although we didn't explicitly say it, all of these can be done after you quickly pop out of a crouch dash. Otherwise, remember that some of these have really good string cover to help you take back some frames. A fun note on down forward 3, for some reason after a tech roll, if you dash up and do this, it gains incredible tracking. Again, these are all very simple to use tools, but equally effective. Devil Form is, for lack of a better word, a stance you gain access to once you have rage. You can get to it by either pressing up back 1+2 or landing crouch dash 1+4 up forward, which has to land since the transformation only happens on the second hit. We won't go over all the changes, but there are a few that are notable. First, your down forward 1 string changes to only have one option, down forward 1-2, which is nearly identical to while standing 1-2, you just now have it from standing. Second, your Hell Sweep now gains a third hit, making it even better low threat. Third, forward 1+2 changes to a safe mid launcher that can evade some highs. Lastly, your forward 4-2 changes into an unsafe mid hit throw, which is actually not good because you lose your chunky long range splatting I-14 Punisher. How useful Devil Form is will depend on your play style. There's nothing game breaking in Devil Form. The big ones are access to a quick mid launcher from standing and getting more damage on your hell sweep. Note that if you transition raw to Devil Form, it does have a hitbox, but you are vulnerable just like if you whiffed a move. Regardless of which specific transition you use, note that you do use up your rage. Kazuya doesn't have much of a grab game, but it's still good to talk about it quickly. His normals both give good Oki, particularly 1+3. He has 2 command 1+2s, forward 1+2, which can be done as crouch dash forward 1+2, and full crouch down forward 1+2, which can be done as crouch dash down forward 1+2. These both give good Oki as well, albeit different specific situations. The full crouch one does a little bit more damage, which I think is why you'll probably see it more, but that's the end of the list, so trying to get these in against strong defensive players is going to be tough. The good news is that your lows are so good you shouldn't really need to grab much. This now brings us to the end of part 2. Hopefully this information helps you implement some of your essential moves so you can snag those wins. In our next and final part, we'll go over punishers, juggles, and some players you can check out. We'll then cap it off with a quick summary. Be on the lookout for that in a couple days. And with that, thank you for checking out this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube. Also be sure to turn on notifications if you'd like to get alerted as soon as a new vid is uploaded. I also try to stream whenever I can, so the link to Twitch is down in the video description below. You will find Twitter and Facebook links down there too. Lastly, special thanks to our 3 patrons, Tato, Apples, and Overhaul. That support means a lot. Patreon is definitely the best way to support your favorite content creators, and the more support the channel gets, the more content I can afford to do. Stay safe everyone, and we'll see you next time.